Tashi Delek, everyone. Welcome to the Ngöndro class, the foundation class. So we'll start. Please bring forth the vast aspiration of the Bodhisattva that we want to bring all motherly sentient beings whose number pervade the vastness of space to the state of perfect and complete Buddhahood. To do so, then I'll engage in listening to these profound teachings and so forth like that. So we open the prayers with Dudjom Tersar Ngöndro.
Thank you. So Dudjom Tersar Ngöndro Shanzen Chogi Ngöndro Nye Bema June Shiru Udo Ekandro Mambu Goi Jiji Jesu Daro Jinji Labji Shiru Guru Bema Sidi Dudjom Tersar Ngöndro Shanzen Chogi Ngöndro Nye Bema June Shiru Udo Ekandro Mambu Goi Jiji Jesu Daro Jinji Labji Shiru Guru Bema Sidi
On the 7 branches, I think page 59 or so. Page Dudjom Tersar.
7 branches.
Dorje lomben sangen pen de som shorlai chansen lo chonsum dembe shingjuro nime yeke chapsu ching e juro yeke namdrube dambe cheba shesu se ngdru chowo chebe ge neje malu shambarage chojo korsum dambe che Ma cha chelai je ye ran da be tha je je ma me zong be jang chu sem ge do de she wang chu sem ba la da ba sum ge lu be lo se ra dang be ge wan na du ne jang chu cho do on the mandala offering. Sa jin be chun jun jin men do tram re ran lin jin nin den gen bai de san ge shin du mi de pe wa ye zhou gun nam dai jin lai chen ba rai shou Idam Guru Radna Mandala Kam Niryata Yami Semchen Namge Sambai Dan Loye Jendrai Jendawar Chechon Tenmon Tenpaye Cheke Korlo Kordosa Düdjom Sangyen Tam Jegen O Ridang Gyo Kora Janse Chamda Kadrin Sungda Ma Che Badrin Chen Tsawe Lame Shabke Pemo Durdrima Me Bala Chan Sershin Chapsu Chu Jingen La Bar Zendu San Temba Lame Sangye Rinpoche Choba Lame Tamche Rinpoche Remba Lame Geden Rinpoche Chamne Guncho Sumla Chansen Lo Tapke Tuje Shakchai Risu Trung Shenge Mito Dike Pongchompa Serge Limbo Tabur Jibe Go Shachai Gepo Shamla Chansen Lo Palden Sone Chudere Supale Kenze Ye Garangye Sandru Charvev Ganchen Kedru Yonke Tsujen Shok Soke Dorjen Drover Lamande Lama Dangombo Jezen Jambe Yang La Chancelo Gange Londre Jimne Tender Netara Namda Rab Sewe Jine Dengen Jejen Sekshen Nike Tokara Bamze Kanda Sedben Zenrar Mare Mintum Dunge Geze Wendro Tso Kunla Buje Tarze Yang La Drukcho Yang Denso Drutare Chedro Nyenmo Nelo Leke Chadro Dreze Che Mare Munse Dunge Nyugo Jine Cheze Redena Dene Dachen Sachur Tarze Yenten Lezo Gese Tuwe Gocho Cha Chodan Chene Genje Dal Munse Chambe Yang La Rabdu De Omara Pazana De Omara Pazana De Omara Pazana Omara Pazana De Omara Pazana De Omara Pazana De Omara Pazana Omara Pazana De Zenden Ken Rai Vezer Ke Dal Te Mo Mbarap Sen Kadan Tenche Shunlu Tombaye Lodre Pompe Nawa Zendo Sel Chego Gondo Zambo Gombaye Doje Semba Garam Doje Dan Shire Singhe Baldo Jenlate De Dama Jenda Da De Sumge Zochen Jube Lama La Sewande Ugen Pema June La Sewande Munze Rizin Den Dorjen Zelmaun De Sheme Bantaye Shamtanta Pejun Getsa Robenge Jigdre Yeshen Dojen La Sewande Sange Quinge Shime Pema Jun Shingder Trube Zunzen Long Change Gangi Yansi Chilen Norbul La Sewande So Dreme Jingelo Choki Lama Namki Getsam Do Wankoro Longzen Shome Shendenche Bebe Nerjo Kunban Zo Chenba Sange Doje Shamla Sewande Omen Cheke Inge Podando De Sum Sange Kunge Ngo Nirang Sem Chego Ngon Sum Denzebe Zawe Lame Shabla Sewande Nelo Tomba Kyawara Jinje Lo Lekbar Shemba Pomba Kendo San Namka Da Nyambe Semjen Tamjen Namken Denge Dewa Lana Machi Bayang Dang Parazombe Sange Rinpoche Chine Janto Paraja Deye Chendu Che Zamo Dine Tsuljindu Sende Denyam Sulembara Giwo Nyamba Samba Jachewa Janchu Semgen Kunlong Dang Tab Jachewa Sangwang Ake Kunlong Te Kunlong Namba Ni Sel Tam De Sembara Shu. So please bring in mind the precious motivation of the Bodhisattva, wishing that I want to bring all motherly sentient beings to the state of perfect and complete Buddhahood. I will listen to these profound teachings and bring forth the understanding of the meaning of these profound teachings and thereby engage in my life. So here the topic of the teaching is the foundation or the preliminary practice. So first of all, we need to understand what does these teachings of the Buddha mean. The teachings of the Buddha is the antidote to our affliction, that we all sentient beings, for some reason that we are born in, or we are kind of hurled in samsara by our own mind, this confused mind. And then whatever we try has never given us lasting happiness, and we have been suffering. And if we want to free from this kind of suffering, this kind of conditioned suffering, then Dharma is the antidote. So when we seek the refuge, or when we seek Dharma, then we take, how do we regard the Dharma is like a medicine. Dharma as, when we take the Buddha, Dharma and the Sangha, they are called the three reliance. We rely on the Buddha as the physicians or as the skilled doctor. And then his teachings, the Dharma, as the antidote. That Buddha knows that what kind of ailment, what kind of affliction we have, and what is the teaching, what are the proper teachings that are prescribed. So the Dharma is the medicine. And then the Sangha are the guides, the nurses and the helpers and so forth, guiding us through the path like that. So we should always remember that Dharma is that antidote to our afflictions. So when we receive the teachings, we should have respect, we should pay attention and so forth. All of those are taught in the general way of how to listen to the teachings and so forth. So we should always remember that. First of all, we should bring the intention that whatever we do, we want to awaken all sentient beings to the state of perfect Buddhahood. And secondly, we need to cultivate the conduct of listening to the teachings. If you just regard this teaching as just like a lecture, just like a speech or some kind of thing, then you are missing the point. We should take this with the regard that these teachings, if we implement, can cure our affliction, and we can free ourselves, or we can liberate from this suffering or from samsara. So we should think in this way. And if you have that kind of regard, then you will feel that the teachings are beneficial to you, and then they will make some change, some effect in your mind. Dharma is what changes our mind or protects our mind from all kinds of afflictions. So as taught in the teachings, that when we receive or when we listen to the teachings, there is the intention that we need to bring forth, and then the conduct that we need to cultivate. So the conduct is to listen to the teachings attentively, not distracted. In our daily life we are distracted. And then when we come to the teachings, again, if we are just distracted, then what's the use? And then further on, when we apply the teachings, we are distracted. So then, that does not help us. So when we listen to the teachings, we should be concentrated. And then we should try to comprehend whatever teachings that we are receiving. Be attentive, not to fall asleep when the teaching is going on, and so forth like that. So those are the conducts, that we need to adopt, and the conducts that we need to abandon, and so forth. So bringing that, cultivating what needs to be cultivated, abandoning what needs to be abandoned, and so forth. Applying all of those, then listen to the teachings. We are here listening to the commentary of the Dudjom Tersar Ngöndro. Ngöndro is the foundation, the preliminaries for all path. We are going to engage in the main path practice. Before we are given the main teachings, we need to stabilize our mind, because our mind is has so much neurosis. Our mind is like crazy. And first of all, bringing that mind toward Dharma, then we need to tame that mind, we need to subdue our mind, we need to calm our mind. And these are the mind trainings and so forth. So the preliminary stage, the preliminary practice is that foundation that lays us toward that path where we train our mind. Once our mind is trained, then our mind becomes the right vessel, the right recipient to take refuge. And taking refuge, we say taking refuge is the entrance to the Buddha path, like that. And further on, then our mind, then once we are stabilized in that way, then we can further cultivate Bodhicitta, the aspiration to bring all motherly sentient beings to the state of Buddhahood, like that, and so on and so forth, like that. So this is the way of how the teachings are taught in the preliminaries. So these are all like progressive ways of how to enter into the path, and that path which is complete and unmistaken. If you rely on that, then it can bring result, like that. So now today we are on to chapter 6, which is the recitation and visualization of Vajrasattva. So in your text is the chapter 6, where the Vajrasattva's text page. So once we enter into this level of practice, then you are supposed to receive the empowerment of Vajrasattva, because you are initiated. You are initiated to the Vajrayana path. So in the Vajrayana path, then you are introduced to these phenomena of deity, wisdom form, wisdom speech, wisdom mind, and mandalas, and so on and so forth, like that. So, and many of you, I think, have not received the Vajrasattva empowerment. So, whenever you hear chants, or whenever you get a lama is performing this kind of empowerment, you should go and receive that. So that way, then your mind is ripened. The empowerment is called ripening, maturing of your mind stream, like that. these tantric teachings work in a lineage, unbroken lineage. Our teacher received the teachings from his teacher received the teaching from his teacher, like that. So it's just like if you want this lamp or the light or the bulb to be lit or glow, then there should be an uninterrupted continuity or connection from the source. Similarly, like that, these tantric teachings that come to us has to have that unbroken lineage. When that lineage is there, then it works. Then the tantric practice brings result and fruition in our practice, like that. So Vajrasattva, he is in fact one of the first deities that is introduced in this tantric path. So anyway, for the sake of explanation, I'm going ahead, and then just for those of you who haven't received the Vajrasattva empowerment, like I told you earlier, if you hear any lamas or rinpoches or so forth giving empowerment, please receive it. So, okay, I'm going to read from the text, chapter 6, Vajrasattva. The Vajrasattva practice acts to purify all past accumulation of negative karma. It is a confession practice which uses 4 powers to complete the purification. In the Buddha's teachings, it is mentioned that karma is unfailing. Karma never fails. It is mentioned in the sutra that it is possible that the sun can rise from the west. It is possible that the river can run upstream, but it is impossible for karma to ever fail. So karma, whatever karma that we have conducted or accumulated, that we had committed through our body, through our speech, through our mind, and so forth, whatever we have planted, like seeds, even if they are dormant right now, when the conditions, when the circumstances come, they will germinate and they will grow. Likewise, this karma that we have committed from timeless past will bear result or will bear fruit when the conditions and circumstances are assembled, like that. So either we need to receive or we need to experience the result of the karma, or we need to purify. Other than that, there is no other thing. So we need to experience, for example, the result of negative karma or negative actions that we had done in the past. We'll experience suffering. The result of the experience, whatever we had committed or positive actions in our past, then we will experience happiness. Negative actions will never bring happiness. Positive actions will never bring suffering. This is the unfailing cause, this unfailing law of cause and effect, like that. So whatever we had done in our past, if we don't purify, it will ripen onto our being, like that. Even if it does not ripen in this life, when we take a new body or new form of life in our next life, we will experience, because our mind does not die. Our body comes to, our body will die and decompose and so forth. But that the mind which creates the karma and so forth, that will experience the result of. So this is how karma is explained in the Buddha's teachings, like that. So here in this chapter, Vajrasattva is the practice to purify all past accumulations. So why do we need to purify our past accumulation? Is that if we don't purify, then we will experience, that result or that consequences of the karma will ripen. So therefore we need to purify. So this practice of Vajrasattva is the most powerful practice of purification. It's a confession practice. It's a bringing in our mind that all those actions all those speeches, all those thoughts and so forth that we had engaged mindlessly and unconsciously and so forth. We bring in our mind and we confess and we pray that they be purified and like that. So it is a confession practice which uses 4 powers to complete the purification. There are these steps of how we need to use the purification, how to engage in the purification. They are called powers. First is the power of support. We use Vajrasattva, the deity, as the power of the support for our purification. These Buddhas have different emanations. For example, Chandrazik, he made the vow or he made the promise that when he cultivated Bodhicitta and when he brought forth awakening, he said that whoever calls out my name, whoever calls out Chandrazi, or whoever recites my mantra, great compassion will arise in their mind, in their being, like that. So likewise, Vajrasattva has this, he made this powerful aspiration, whoever calls out my name and whoever recites my mantra will purify their karma of countless eons, like that. So, these are wisdom beings, and then there is this power. If you just used a rock and then just kind of prayed in front of a rock, that purification won't happen because they are not the right support. Vajrasattva, as I mentioned, that Vajrasattva made this great aspiration when he awakened to Buddhahood, that whoever calls out or whoever remembers him, whoever recites his name and mantra and so forth, will be able to purify their karma, so forth. So therefore, the support is Vajrasattva. So I will show you the picture of Vajrasattva. Here's Vajrasattva, so you have seen Vajrasattva. So that's the support, the deity as the support. As I mentioned, it's important that whom we are praying to. For example, we can use Buddha. Buddha can be the support of our purification. But here the manifestation or the aspect of Buddha appears in Vajrasattva, who is the deity of purification, like that. So it's not that we cannot use Buddha or Guru Rinpoche, Chandrazi and so forth. We can use them, but particularly here we are using Vajrasattva because Vajrasattva is the deity of purification. So that's the first power. The second power is we need to bring the feeling of regret regret that whatever actions and speeches and thoughts that we had committed or we had engaged in our past, that we need to bring that in our mind. Like, for example, when you hurt somebody, when you do negative things to somebody, if you want to purify that, we need to bring in our mind and realize that what we did to them wasn't nice. We caused harm, we hurt them, we caused them pain and so forth, like that. Likewise, whatever actions that we did and speeches that and the thoughts that we had engaged in our past mindlessly and unconsciously and so forth, we bring this this intention of that what I had done wasn't right, was incorrect or was wrong, and now I regret of what I had done and so forth, like that. So in the classic text it's mentioned that the thought, this feeling of regret should be, for example, when you drink poison, and then poison torments you, when you had consumed poison and it starts enter your stomach, your body and so forth, it starts to complicate your system inside and you start to feel the pain, and then you have this feeling that the regret that I shouldn't have drank that thing or consumed that. That kind of intention should be there in our mind, the feeling of regret, that all these actions that we had done, that to have regret and like that. This is the wisdom phenomena. We might ask, why should we purify? Why should we purify our actions? Who keeps counts, who keeps records of all of this and so forth? There is this unmistaken database that is maintained by our own awareness, That's why, when we die, when this body, when this life comes to an end and so forth, when this mind goes in search of the next life and so forth, that mind experiences, because it is in that mind's awareness, all of those actions recorded, and that is what ripens. So therefore, in order to purify our negative actions, the second support or the second power is to generate the feeling of regret, whatever we had done like that. If you don't have that regret and just kind of mindlessly chanting the mantras, or it does not happen, because there is no sincere intention or thought coming from the bottom of your heart to purify your actions. So this is very, very important. You need to have the feeling of regret. The third power is the method, which is the descent of the nectar. The third method is called the antidote. What can purify? Whatever actions we had done, we need to use the right antidote, the purification. If you don't utilize the antidote, it will never purify. So here, the method is visualizing the deity, Vajra Sattva, visualizing in the heart of the deity the mantras, and then from the mantras, the nectars descending down, and then falling into your body and filling your body and cleansing and doing all the things like that. There is the visualization, and then the recitation of the mantra, the Vajra Sattva mantra. As I told you, that Vajra Sattva proclaimed this, saying that the 100-syllable mantra of Vajra Sattva, whoever recites it will be able to purify karma of countless eons like that. So therefore there is the power in the method, in the antidote. So if we utilize that, we will be able to purify. The fourth power is the vow to never again repeat the negative actions. The fourth power is called reconciliation, or the vow that we need to bring. It's not like, oh, I did that, and then I kind of mindlessly say, oh, pardon me, or I apologize right now, and then again after a while you conduct that again. That does not work. It is, you need to make this vow, a firm commitment in your mind that I will never engage in that actions ever again, even at the cost of my life. Such firm commitment needs to be cultivated in your mind like that. Again, in the teachings, in the mainstream teachings, it is mentioned, it's like, like a prisoner, once set free from the prison, never thinking that I'll ever go back in that kind of situation, in that kind of prison, ever more, ever again. So like that kind of vow, that whatever negative actions that I had committed in my past, I'll never ever engage. So then you make this vow, the promise, we say the oath, like the samaya, the commitment, like that. So the vow to never again repeat these negative actions like that. And then to do so, then first we visualize Chior Lama Dorsem Yadmepe Kule Dutse Chumbab Trip Changchur. Above the crown of my head is Vajra Sattva, inseparable from the Lama. So all these tantric teachings come from that unbroken lineage of master to student like that. So these teachings too, when we receive, we need to receive from a Lama who is a qualified and authentic Lama. And then in order to practice that, we use the Lama. We use the Lama as the representation of the Buddhas coming from the primordial Buddha down to this day like that. So when we visualize this, when we are engaging in this practice, we visualize our Lama, but our Lama in the aspect of Vajra Sattva. It is our Lama whose essence is Vajra Sattva, appearing in that form. Today he is appearing in the form of Vajra Sattva when I'm doing this Vajra Sattva recitation, so like that. And then from Vajra Sattva's body, a streaming flow of nectar descends, purifying my obscurations, purifying my karma, my habit, my defilements, my obscurations, all those stains and so forth. So this is how you... And then, okay, here Lama Thajan says, Vajra Sattva sits on 1,000-petaled lotus, as you saw in the picture like that. Anyway, you can Google or you can search if you don't have a picture of Vajra Sattva, just search for Vajra Sattva and then you will see Vajra Sattva is sitting on 1,000-petaled lotus, multicolored, not just one color, but so many different colors of lotus petals like that. On top of the lotus is a moon disk, so you see there's like a flat disk on top of the lotus pistils. A white hung sits. A hung is the sid syllable that you saw inside the heart of Vajra Sattva, like that. Sits on top of the moon seat. The hung transforms. So there are other steps. That is, the light goes out from the hung, making offerings to the Buddhas of the 10 directions. The light is reabsorbed into the hung. As soon as the light strikes back into hung, that hung transforms magically, miraculously into Vajra Sattva. The hung transforms into Vajra Sattva in union with its consort. You saw in the image that he was in union with this. Deities in union represent, the true nature is the true nature, that abiding nature is the male, and then the empty aspect of it is the female. So likewise they are, so appearance and emptiness inseparable. They are intertwined like that. They are joined together like that in union. And his consort's name is Nema Karmo. So Nema Karmo. Visualize Vajra Sattva 4 fingers above your head like that. If you have 4 fingers above your head like that. He witnesses your confession is this essential aspect of the 5 Buddha families. Vajra Sattva is considered as the 6th Buddha family. Within Vajra Sattva, all the 5 Buddha families subsume or contain within Vajra Sattva. So think that Vajra Sattva, who is the embodiment of all the Buddha families, his essence is your own root guru. As I mentioned, that Vajra Sattva appears, but essentially it's your own root Lama or your guru in the form of Vajra Sattva. The lotus stem is like a funnel and touches the opening of the central channel at the crown of your head. When we did the cleansing of the breath, our center channel was kind of curved like an umbrella handle and ended somewhere near here in between the brows like that. But at this time when we're doing the Vajra Sattva visualization, the center channel goes straight and then ends here at the fontanelle, here at the Brahma aperture, or this opening right here, And it is like a funnel, like the funnel, it's like the end of a horn or like a flute or clarinet like that. Wider on the top like that, and then narrower as it goes down like that. So we need to visualize our center channel like that in the center of our body. Vajrasattva is white in color and has two hands. As you saw, Vajrasattva is like brilliantly white in color and has two hands. In his right hand he holds a golden Vajra. So you saw that Vajra. Vajra looks like this, and then he holds at the heart like that. And then in his left hand, a silver bell at his hip like that. And then of course he is in union, so then the consort is embraced within, and then his hands wraps around, and his hand, the left hand is here resting at the hip like that. So in his left, a silver bell to his hip. Visualize his body as clear and pure like a reflection of wisdom. So here when we're visualizing Vajrasattva, it's just like a transparent rainbow. It's not like flesh or clay or metallic kind of form. He's actually resplendent but transparent. It's like rainbow light that can pass through anything like that, like that kind of body is there. So reflection of wisdom. Although you can see his body, its qualities are not heavy and solid. Rather, it appears transparent and empty like a rainbow. Visualizing his clear luminous form is the first power, the power of support. So you bring in your mind and then visualize like that. And then of course it won't come, because our habit of thinking of real things, these objects and so forth, are so strongly implanted or ingrained in our mind, in our image, that this deity visualization won't appear instantly. But we can never say it. It will depend on individuals. So even if it doesn't appear, then you need to try again and visualize. So more and more this mind starts to let go of that grasping habit of grasping the objects and grasping into reality and so forth. More and more clearer the image of Vajrasattva will appear in your mind, in your visualization like that. So this is the first support. Visualizing the clear luminous form is the first power, the power of the support. Generating strong devotion, recalling the negative acts you have committed throughout all your numerous lifetimes due to ignorance. Feel regret for these actions and pray to Vajrasattva to purify you. This is the second power, the power of regret. So generate devotion, meaning understanding, of course it's kind of difficult or tricky. We are not asking you to generate some kind of blind faith to worship some kind of idol. So this is more and more you practice, you will come to understand that. So you can question, why should I visualize on this deities and so forth like that, and read and so forth? Then you will get your answer. And when you kind of get that answer, then you generate conviction, or you start to trust that this practice really work and so forth. And then when it does, then natural devotion arises. So here the instruction is generate devotion, that you should kind of generate faith and devotion that this practice will work to purify my negative actions. If you don't believe in that, it won't work. So there should be some kind of merit in you to be able to believe in this kind of phenomena. If you don't have the merit at all, you'd never care to believe in this. You almost think this is what you call hocus pocus, all those bogus things like that. But anyway, you need to have some kind of merit to be able to appreciate or be fascinated by this kind of teaching. So if you have that kind of merit, then you'll be able to generate devotion, and you'll have, so here more and more you generate that devotion, more and more the purification happens. And here again says, recalling the negative actions you have committed throughout all your numerous lifetimes due to ignorance. So feel regret for these actions and pray to Vajra Sattva to purify you, because Vajra Sattva has the power to purify. So when you intend in such a way, then purification will happen. This is the second part, the power of regret. In Vajra Sattva's heart is a 5-pointed Vajra. In the heart of Vajra Sattva is a 5-pointed Vajra. This is a 5-pointed Vajra. So I cannot show you the close-up. For some reason this camera is kind of freezing. So this is the 5-pointed Vajra. Okay. So it's in the heart of Vajra Sattva. In its center on a moon disk, in the center of the Vajra has a tip and the bottom like that, and between there is a hub like this. That's like a, so there, right in the middle, there is a moon seat. There's a moon disk. On top of the moon disk is the Sid syllable Hung. Hung Sid syllable, like that. Remember, Hung emitted light and then gathered all the blessings of the Buddha and instantaneously or miraculously transformed into Vajra Sattva. There is one Hung in the heart of Vajra Sattva. Vajra, in the hub of the Vajra is a moon disk, and on the center of the moon disk is a Hung syllable like that. And then that Hung syllable is surrounded by the 100-syllable mantra. Just as you see this one there. This is that visualization was for our practice to kind of give us an idea of how to visualize. So that white is the moon, and then in the center is the Hung Sid syllable surrounded by the 100-syllable mantras, like that. 100 syllable, which follows circling clockwise. You saw that there was this concentric circle going like that. So it goes round and round, like chain of pearls like that. Very radiant pearls emitting light, glowing brilliantly like that. So circling clockwise. Om Vajra Sattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajra Sattva Teno Bhatishta Dhrido Me Bhava Sutosha Me Bhava Subosha Me Bhava Anurakto Me Bhava Sarva Siddhi Me Prayasa Sarva Karma Sutsa Me Citam Shriyam Kuru Hung Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sarva Tathagata Vajra Mame Munza Vajri Bhava Maha Samaya Sattva. So those are the 100 syllables. While you recite the mantra, so then as we visualize the Vajra Sattva, then we recite this 100-syllable mantra. So while you recite the mantra, white nectar begins to flow from the Hung and the circling mantra and circling mantra, filling the bodies of Vajra Sattva and its consort. The nectar comes from their secret place out through their point of union into the lotus stem and down through the center channel, filling your entire body. It comes like a powerful wind or shower that washes away the 3 poisons: anger, desire, and ignorance, the 3 diseases, wind, bile, and phlegm, and the 3 demonic influences: Podhen Gyalpo, the manifestation of anger; Modhen Dremo, the manifestation of desire; and Ludhen Sadak, the manifestation of ignorance. So those are the male demonic spirit, the female demonic spirit, or we can also say the male demonic expression, the female demonic expression, and then the Naga demonic expression, like that. The three poisons wash out in the form of ink, smoke, coal, and or dirt. The three diseases wash out in the form of blood and pus, and the three demonic influences wash out in the form of poisonous insects, scorpions, snakes, spiders, and frogs. So they come out and live through your lower orifice like that. Enormous quantities of all of these are cleansed from your body. As the impurities are washed out, the earth opens below, and the Lord of Death appears in the form of a red ox. He is surrounded by all your past karmic debtors who are repaid and totally satisfied in this way. So when you visualize like this, down beneath the earth, there is the Lord of Death, we say Yamaraja, who is in the form of a red bull, red ox. And then surrounding there all your karmic debtors, from those who ate their flesh, from those who gnawed or kind of chewed their bones, from whom that we had drank their blood and milk and used their skin, their hide as clothing or shoes or any kind of thing utilized in any kind of ways and so forth. They're now waiting for, they're eagerly anticipating when will this person come so that we can collect our debts from this, like that, and then those who we had harmed or hurt, those whom we had killed, those whom we had lied, those from whom we had stolen, and those whom we had kind of cheated and hurt them, or generated ill intention, negative intentions, malicious thoughts, and so on and so forth, like that. All of those, they are now waiting eagerly. They are called karmic debtors, karmic creditors. As I mentioned last time, they are like karmic collectors and debt collectors, like that. So they're all waiting like that. And then whoever, whatever they wish, those who are wishing for bodies, it falls unto them like bodies. Those who wish for housing, clothing, medicine, and whatsoever like that, it's repaid. And once you repay, they're completely satisfied, they're content, and their grudge and so forth are completely quelled, like that, totally satisfied in this way. So this is how you visualize. Then visualize the nectar washing and rinsing you until you are completely clean, purifying all damaged and broken samaya. Samaya are like the commitments that you take once you receive the tantric vows, the tantric teachings and so forth, like that. So broken samayas and so forth are completely purified. Obscurations, like we mindlessly do things. We talk about karma and obscuration. Karma is what we do, but whatever we do kind of has a reaction, and they are obscurations. They make our mind more and more dull. Our awareness is lost and so forth. They are obscurations. They kind of hinder our knowing, our awareness, and so forth. So they are called obscurations, defilements, and so forth. They are all cleansed. And so obscurations and defilements. Feel you are being totally purified as you recite the 100-syllable mantra. This is the third power, the antidote. The flow of the nectar. So this is the antidote. The antidote is to visualize and recite the mantra and do the visualization of how the cleansing, the purification happens. So that's the third power. Recite the 100-syllable mantra as many times as possible, eventually accumulating 100,000. So now, as the practitioner of the Ngöndro, now many of the students have committed to do the Ngöndro accumulation. You are supposed to recite 111,000 times of this 100 syllable. So you need to keep track of that one. Then when you do that, there's a transformation. You will feel yourself. You can feel your mind has become more clearer, because that's the effect of when your mind is free from negativities and so forth. So if you recite this 111,000 times, you will feel the difference. So you'll know later on when you have accomplished that. Feel with total confidence and without doubt that you are completely purified. Vajrasattva confirms and warmly acknowledges that indeed this is true. So in the visualization, after this cleansing happens, then you again in your meditative state, you see the countenance or the face of Vajrasattva clearly proclaiming to you, fortunate child, you have you're blessed, you have cleansed your body, speech and mind and so forth. You can actually envision that like that. So this is true, meaning Vajrasattva is actually speaking to you like that, and actually you have cleansed your karma and so forth like that. At this point, take a strong vow to never again accumulate negative karma. Feel that you would rather die than choose to create negative karma. This is the fourth power, the vow and final decision to absolutely cut any possibility of committing negative actions again in the future. So these four powers are the outer purification. After reciting as the 100-syllable mantras as many times as possible, Vajrasattva melts into light, dissolves into you, and you yourself become Vajrasattva. So Vajrasattva dissolves into light. As you dissolve, you transform into Vajrasattva. You become inseparable from Vajrasattva. It is important to generate confidence and Vajra pride. This is called Vajrasattva is our innate nature. So bringing in your mind this Vajra pride that I have truly manifested as Vajrasattva like that. A feeling that from the beginningless beginning, on an ultimate level, you are none other than Vajrasattva like that. Then at this point, then recite the 6-syllable mantra, Om Vajrasattva, Om Vajrasattva, Om Vajrasattva, Om Vajrasattva, like that. Om Vajrasattva, you recite that, and then also, if you want to elaborate, you can do that in the heart of Vajrasattva. Is 4-petal lotus. So, in fact, there's 1 in the center and then 4 on the outside, like that. So, in the center is Hung Sit syllable. In the front, which is the east, is Om, and on the south is Vajra, and the west is Sa, and on the north is Ta. So Om, Vajra, Sattva, and in the center is Hung Sit syllable like that. So you wish, as you recite that one, you can elaborate that visualization too. So if you want to do that. Om Vajrasattva. In this state, all forms and appearance of Vajrasattva's body. All sound is mantra, and all thoughts are inseparable from Vajrasattva's wisdom mind. This is the inner purification. Then recite the lines. The Vajju Danan Dandre Rochi Jur. Vajrasattva melts into light, blending into oneself, becoming one taste. So that's the dissolution. Vajrasattva then dissolves like a rainbow and disappears into the sky. Remain with your mind and Vajrasattva's mind inseparably mixed. Again, if you want to elaborate that one, the deity kind of dissolves from the outside inward and into that lotus, and then into the center. There are 4 syllables around the center. The last syllable merges into the third into the second into the first, and then the first into the center syllable, and then it kind of again dissolves from beneath all the way to the tip like that, and then finally even that tip kind of vanishes subtly and then dissolves tracelessly in space like that, and then you rest like that. That's why you becoming Vajrasattva, and your mind and the wisdom mind of Vajrasattva inseparable like that. This is the secret purification. That each day recite the 100-syllable mantra at least 21 times, and the 6-syllable mantra 108 times. To complete this portion of the Ngöndro, you must complete 100,000 recitation of the 100-syllable mantra. The 6-syllable mantra is not counted. The power of this purification practice is inconceivably profound and beneficial. Through the wisdom and skillful means of the Vajrayana path, even 1,000 eons of negative karmic accumulations can be purified through Vajrasattva practice. So that's the way of practicing the Vajrasattva. So, you have any questions?
I have a question. By what merits can we recognize negative actions?
What merit?
Yeah, like how do we recognize them?
Merit is some kind of drive in our being, that makes us do good things, that makes us, truly happy. It makes us, inspired, and it kind of fuels that you can do more positive thing. That's merit. The lack of merit then kind of makes you stuck in negativity. It kind of drags you, and then you don't even know how to move past that one. The lack of it's a drive in. It's some kind of force in. For you can just kind of course there is a reason, but we can kind of think like without any. Say we two go to work today and we work 8 hours, and then we at the end of the day we collected the money. Each one of us got paid the same amount like that. But then there is this merit in us that we could utilize this in any way, but because of your good merit you'd utilize that in a positive way. Maybe you want to help somebody, or you want to someone who is in need and so forth like that. But then for me, lacking merit, I just kind of went to a store, bought some liquor and drank, and then became senseless like that kind of thing. You'd see that one?
Yeah.
Why do I have to be like that, and why do you have to be like that? Yeah? It's that kind of drive. And then merit is that drive that makes us do positive thing. As for example, we try to do, our little bit of merit kind of brought us to Dharma, or to this path of the Buddha's teachings. And then if we have more merit, it takes us further and further and advances us on the path. Yeah? And if you lack that, then we kind of get stuck in one corner or in one place.
Yeah.
Cannot move forward. See? Just like that. So merit is that drive. Yeah.
So it's a feeling we get from it.
Yes, it's the force of our mind. It's like a drive in our being.
It's a good answer. Thank you.
Alex, you have a question?
Yeah, I do. Thank you, Kempo. Can you talk a little bit about how to cultivate a mind of remorse and shame?
This too, of course, if we don't have that merit, as I told you, would never, even for an instant, reflect that this is what is called as negative. But if you kind of have this merit, then you'd be able to kind of discern that what is positive and what is negative. And then if you are more if you have more positive merit, then you would be able to kind of abandon negative actions and then cultivate positive actions. So like that. So I don't know, it's just our own habit or minds, minds, you could say mind's power or mind's habitual tendency that we carry from way past, that whether our mind can discern that this is positive or negative. If we have the merit, we'll be able to discern in that way and then stay away from negative and then engage in positive and then develop more positivity.
I was thinking about actually this topic this week,
Mm-hmm.
and I was thinking that before I learned about the Dharma, I was like shameful of, like guilty. I felt guilty because I was like other people saw me as a bad person. But then I realized that through Dharma, I think I should be shameful of not cultivating. I should be shameful of not using every instant that I have to help others. Is that on the right path, or is that thinking too much?
That's good. Guilt. Let me try to think. This word guilt from the Buddhist perspective, like. In the Dharma, there is what we call as dignity, mota, and like self-discipline. That's like a self-discipline. We ourselves have this discipline to be able to stay away from negativity. Discipline that we can stay within positivity and so forth like that. So I think that must be the closest I could think about guilt, but not as torturing as like in the Western thought of guilt. Yeah, that's kind of, it torments you, isn't it?
Yeah.
Kinda, yeah. But I don't think it's like that because we have a different perspective looking into karma. So you don't have to be too harsh onto yourself. Once we know that whatever is done is because of our karma, and then you don't have to be too harsh onto yourself, and you should be more joyful now that you start to become more friendly with your mind, that your mind kind of now helps you to be more positive, not like always blaming your mind, or you are the one who did that. And so I think you start to become more mutual like that. So because your mind, it will help you, yeah. So more and more you become friendly, more and more you become, your mind, because your mind has to agree what you want to do, because your thoughts or your brain or you always intend to do, but then your intention, your mind has to kind of cooperate with you, yeah. So I think, yeah, so I think you don't have to be too harsh. That's my advice. So then you don't get that kind of feeling of guilt and so forth.
So guilt leaves you with like a negative feeling?
I think so, yeah, because that's what
Yeah.
I heard, like the Western kind of.
So if you're guilty, then you want to take a vow against being guilty.
Yeah, in the West you have this, like guilty should be punished, like you have that, yeah?
Yeah.
But in the Buddhist teachings, then you should be able to forgive. That's the, you should be able to forgive. That's the thing. So that's something you need to think and then be able to, because whatever you did, you should be able to release, to forgive yourself, whatever you did, so you are not too harsh onto yourself. Because I think in the West we have everything, when they make movies or everything kind of, needs to be justice. We talk about justice. Everything has to be, sorted out, and then those who need to be punished should be punished, and revenge should be taken, or those kind of things we have very strongly ingrained in our mindset like that. But that is not how the nature works. We want happiness, and in order for us to be happy, rather than thinking of being repaid or to repay, or what is that? What's the word? To repay. What's the word we used just now?
Debts?
No. Like, what's the word you use? Like the negative things that the other did, that you need to kind of pay exactly, like revenge, like that. We don't have that one kind of in the Dharma, like you don't necessarily have to pay, take revenge of what like you need to let go, in the teachings of the Bodhisattva saints, those kind of thing. If you constantly wage wars through revenge like that, that war is going to go on, will never end. But we need to reflect, where is that intention of that anger and revenge coming from? Is from the hatred held in your heart. So when you're able to conquer that anger and the hate in your heart, the outer foes are naturally conquered or destroyed. And so that kind of so we need to Dharma is like that. Dharma teaches you the true nature of bringing, Pende, it's called benefit, temporal benefit, and ultimate happiness. So please practice in that way. So Dharma is the only antidote. Dharma is the only antidote that can bring the end of our affliction. For example, as we talked right now, this hate and so forth. Otherwise, we only fall into our habitual mind, thinking that I should take revenge, I should be paid equally, we need to seek justice, and so on and so forth like that. And then all it brings us is just pain and suffering like that. So we need to believe in Dharma, the ways, the methods, how it talks about, or how it teaches us, teaching us of compassion, love, forgiveness, understanding, and so forth like that. So that enriches our life and stabilizes our practices and enhances our path and brings us more closer and closer to brighter light. Okay, so please practice in that way, and then we'll do the dedication. Page 62. Sonandi tamje sikbani topne nebe ranam pamje shin kega nache bano trub sibe solen drowa shu jambe pau jidara kemba dan kundu sangbo deyan dejen de kunye jeso gewa den dan tamje ramdong de sum shebe gewa tamje Ngowa gangla chodo ngangban den dagi gewe zawa de genjang zangbo chen che rabdo ngorangi Jangchu semcho rimbo che ma ke panam ke juru che ke ba nyamba me ba da Gongne gongdu pewar sho jangchu semdai midr shin jangchu chola shewa Sangye namge yongzon shin duke lenang bambara sho Chanchu semba namge ni roden tola gondro sha Gombo yini gangong ba semchen namla de juro sha Semchen tamchen de dan den juro che Ngöndro tamchen tando dangbar sha Chanchu semba gangda sarjo pa De da gunge melam do para sho Gewa de ye gewa kun Sonnam ye she tozo shin Sonnam ye shin Damba gunne tobarasho Rinchen gezo de yen rowa gun tando dambe chedan midrash Ranjen dene zomba tarchin Chenga drobe jeden ze barasho Pende junne demba peljuruche Cher sarab kundu chella chejuruche Gyalkam kundu tashi gejuruche Drogun chamche sangye tombara sho chechul de lama kokam zangwara sewa Chodu kutse ringwara sewa de trinlen darjin gebara sewa Lama dan drewa me bara jinge lo pende junne temba Kandu gebe gewan tamje du tore yenden dunden tobara sho Kema tatu chedan trejuru che tsurjen drube rangwan yebe. Deriyan lama damba neje jin nendan tsendu chelai che barash. Chedo nini ningbo dendro te tsede sebe jansu gyalwan. Seba dambe cherab denje chin shenbe rula chongara meb. Labchen shenden chore meba ye tamche chamche sangye tombara sho Chezul deyan nede kilkorojin choke tandro kunduda Lodre bemo rabdo geje Sangye temba darjin ge barasho Lungri tebe meshi dribled Menga sembe tezom mena chong Gomjong yege nelu jejen Sherab sumge nawa gen parasho
Kemala che samay ringoy che Zamay sasamay chakare Yogi chosay nawana Mire de soy
Nandra risum langa che gu ngang kudan yeshe reba jamle Zabsan aljur chembe nyamlen la irme tuke tingle rojesh Kewa kundu yangdal lama dan drilme cheke pella lonjej Sadan lamge yende rabzonte Palden lame go panyuruto sho Om Ahum Ben benza guru pema sindhi Om 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 benza guru pema tejeng tsal benzar samaya za sindhi pala Om benza guru pema tejeng tsal benzar samaya za sindhi pala Om benza guru pema tejeng tsal benzar samaya za sindhi pala Okay, thank you everyone. Everyone stay well, take good care, and then keep practicing.